Hello, my name is Paul. I am starting a vlog today because this week I am going to Harley Street Hair Clinic and I am going to get a hair transplant. Now, some of you might be thinking, why on earth is he getting a hair transplant when he's got such a good head of hair? Well, the real reason is that this hair is only like this because every morning I take a pill, Propecia, and it supposedly stops the hair loss process, and I started that about 2 years ago, and so far so good. It's kind of this area that was starting to go bald has actually thankfully started to thicken up again, but this bit at the front, the reason you don't see it now is because I've blow dried my hair back and covered it, but essentially there's a section here that is going very thin, and the Propecia isn't changing that, and due to my profession, I'm an actor, this can really, getting this bit filled in at Harley Street with hair from the back should really strengthen my hairline and hopefully give me a few more years in this casting bracket. So I just had a shower, and this whole area here, you can see how long my hair actually has to be now to cover up in here where it's all going. On that side as well. So, I've got just over 24 hours before the procedure, and as a part of that, I've started telling more and more people that that's what I'm about to do this week. I think at this stage of the process, if people haven't heard that I'm doing it before, generally their question is why. It doesn't look like I need to necessarily have more hair. Obviously people don't see the fact that here there is actually a big bald spot that I'm covering with my hairstyle, but beyond that, even when they do see that, they still think, why are you doing it? You don't need to, just grow old gracefully. And they've also started asking questions that I hadn't asked myself. For example, my mum keeps saying that if these bits are done and they are then permanent implants, then what happens when I start losing hair on the rest of my head? Am I going to end up with two big tufts of hair? And that's something that I hadn't thought of before, and that's something that I'm going to have to ask when I go into the clinic about what the follow-up procedures are. I think for most people getting this procedure done, they'll be getting a large area on their head done, and therefore with that being permanent, that's great. What I'm doing and what some other people do is just getting two small sections on my head. So it's the day before my procedure. I'm just going out to do a few errands, and I guess I'm getting a little bit nervous about it. I don't know if I'm going to end up in bed for a few days and not being able to do things. As the plan tomorrow is to cut the side of my hair and the back of my hair as short as possible to a grade 1. I'm now going to go to the salon and see if I can get it styled in a particular way that will mean that after the procedure it won't look too strange. So I just went to try and get a haircut before tomorrow's procedure, and I was informed just as I was about to get it done that actually I should have read the instructions and you're not supposed to cut your hair beforehand. They're going to cut it tomorrow, and I thought I'd best go back and look at some of the instructions. There are a few things that say the day before, make sure you get an early night, make sure you don't smoke, and a planned your visit. On the day it looks like I'm going to have to be in at 8 AM, it might take up to 8 hours. Not to have any coffee or caffeine or caffeinated drinks. And so preparation wise it doesn't seem too bad. I hadn't read these completely before, and it's probably a good thing because in the instructions, pre-op instructions, it says 14 days before not to take certain medications because it might affect the blood and the amount of bleeding. So don't take antidepressants, don't take blood thinners, don't take certain multivitamins. But also it says 7 days before don't drink and smoke tobacco, use hair products the morning of. And it's quite a good thing actually that I have read this now, because I probably would have used hair products in the morning. And also years ago when I was travelling, I got my teeth whitened when I was in Thailand, and one of the rules, or the 3 rules after that, was not to drink any red wine, not to smoke, and not to drink coffee. And despite not being a smoker at the time, within about 4 hours I'd done all 3 because I'd been told not to do any of them. And I think that it's just as well. Again, I'm not a smoker now, so I will not be smoking, but I might have had a glass of wine before I came in, but luckily I've not opened a bottle. I don't take any of the medication that are on there, and tomorrow morning it just means that I don't need to wake up so early because I won't have to do anything to my hair before the procedure. One of the things I was thinking today was actually the odd thing about it being tomorrow or being so close is that I actually notice people's hair in the street a lot more than I ever have before. I was walking along today and looking at guys' hairstyles. I've never really, because of the thickness and curls in my hair, been able to style it any way other than the way it's styled really, or to put gel in it and it's just curly. And I don't think this procedure is going to change that, but it certainly makes me more aware of looking around and seeing people with a different hairline. Like mine's gone back further and further and further as time's gone on. I've always had a bit of a widow's peak, but it's noticeable when you look around and look at people with their hairlines. That generally today, if you're going bald, then you go shaved. There's very few people that have sort of thinness on top and leave it longer, and they certainly can't style it if it's in that state. So yes, I'm looking forward to tomorrow with a bit of trepidation. I'm a bit concerned that they're going to ask me to shave the top of my head as well during the procedure, which I really hope doesn't happen. Purely because my acting headshots at the moment have my hair like this. If I have to shave it off, I'll either need to get new headshots or be warning casting directors before I go to auditions that that's the case. Previously, I've shaved my hair off for charity, and I'd actually been booked on a job, and when I told them that my head was shaved, they said that they didn't want me. So hopefully that won't happen tomorrow. Hopefully it will all go swimmingly, and I'll be able to tell you more about it once I've had the procedure done. So it's the morning of my hair transplant. It's just after 7 in the morning. I'm just about to get some breakfast and head to the clinic. I've showered and done nothing with my hair. I've just left it clean. I'm wearing a button-up shirt as suggested, so that later on I don't need to pull anything over my head when it's raw and sore. And I'm a little bit nervous, but also quite looking forward to getting it over and done with. It's 5 to 8 in the morning. I'm just walking up Wimpole Street towards the new offices of Harley Street Hair Clinic, and it's 8 o'clock. And I didn't think anything was going to be open. I thought I was going to have a light breakfast in McDonald's, but luckily there's lots of cafes around here. Had some nice pastries and some coffee. Well, not coffee, had orange juice. No caffeine.
Do you know if you have any allergies to medication?
No, I don't have any allergies.
Okay. So you know the area roughly already. We can go to the toilet again before we start.
Right, so I'm midway through getting the donor hairs out. I'll try and give you some sort of look at the bag, although I think there's a pad on there. And so far, I don't know how long it's been. It's probably been a couple of hours, I think. To start off with, they give you a diazepam, and that occasionally makes you feel a bit fuzzy. And then they go in and they put, on that section on the back, they put in a local anaesthetic, and that injection really hurts, but it only lasts while it's in there. So it's maybe 2 or 3 minutes of real pain, and then all of a sudden you find nothing. And after that, it just feels like you've got a big piece of plasticine on the back of your head, and it's just moving around. The main problem for me was that I've got such a big head is that I've got now bruises where my face was stuffed into the bed. But other than that and needing a wee, the whole process was fairly painless. They've currently drawn on what they'd like to do. I think there's probably a bit much there. I think I want it to be as low as that, but I'll speak to them in the break at lunchtime before they start doing the implants, and we'll see how it goes. So an hour and a half ago I completed my hair transplant at Harley Street. My face can't currently move because I've had so much local anaesthetic put into my head, around the back and the sides and the front. I'll just give you a quick look up here. That's what the front looks like now. Yes, they had to shave part of it. And if you want a quick look at the donor area, that's what it looks like. Oh! So I've got a sheet on my pillow in case the donor area bleeds, and because I took some diazepam this morning and now my head is starting to hurt after the anaesthetic's running out, I've had to write down what happened today so that I remember to let you know about it in this vlog entry. So I got in this morning, got in at 8 o'clock. I hadn't had any caffeine, but I managed to get a decaf coffee at the clinic, which was a very nice start to the day. I then got some photos taken and read through and signed a form. Then the surgeon came in and she had a wee chat to me and drew the line that she wanted to create. Given some tablets, I was given some what was I given? I was given some antibiotics, some steroid tablets, and then a stomach protector so that those tablets didn't give me heartburn. And I've got to take the same for the next 4 days, so no alcohol for the next 4 days. Sorry if you didn't realise that and you're getting your hair done. So after the tablets, I was taken through into the patient room, which is a lovely little room. You get your own locker, and that's where your lunch will be given to you at lunchtime. I was then changed into a robe and then taken in for the extraction. Now the extraction lasted 5 hours, and basically what they did was shave the sides of my head as I had expected they would. And then they went in with anaesthetic, and it goes in a number of times across the back of your head. Now they do the donor part in 3 stages, right at the back, and then you turn your head and it's on the side and on the side. So I would say the most painful bit of the whole experience was like the 2 minutes maybe of the anaesthetic going in. As soon as the anaesthetic had gone in, you couldn't feel anything, and it was great. The problem was that during the first part, you're face down, and you're face down in this padded almost like massage table, and after about half an hour, 40 minutes, my face was in so much pain. There was bruising all the way around the side. That went after a while, but it might be an idea to ask for breaks. One of the things that I didn't do enough today was ask for breaks, and I just lay there needing the toilet. I think the best thing to do is to just ask, because whenever I did ask, I was allowed to get up and walk around. The other thing that happened after that, so they went in, and I'm not entirely sure what they did, but they pulled out all the different hairs, and apparently hairs come out in different ways. They come out as 1s, 2s and 3s, all with the same root. And so during one of my breaks I was able to see the different styles of hair, which was quite cool. Also, once they'd moved on to the side donation sections, I was actually able to move my head side to side on a pillow, and that was so much more comfortable that I ended up falling asleep. So despite it being 5 hours, I think I was only awake for about half of that. We then had lunch, which was just a Pret sandwich and an apple, and then I had to read through the post-op procedure instructions, which I'll actually come to a bit later. Then I went in to get the recipient areas grafted to, the donated hairs grafted to the recipient area. And as you can see, what they actually had to do first was shave my hairline back slightly and then insert them. And I'm not too sure how this hairline is going to come out, because I kind of wanted a bit of a curve on it, and it seems to have gone into a point. And also, I'm a bit worried now that they've shaved the front, that, as I say later in the post-op instructions, I'm not actually able to cut my hair for the next 2 weeks. So hopefully, once the swelling goes down at the front, this line isn't going to be too noticeable. They went in, and this time you're on your back, and so you've got the option of watching TV. Netflix was on. I watched 3 or 4 episodes of Prison Break, and I was lying probably for about 5.5 hours. For the first 3 hours, I didn't ask to go up and go for a wee. I would suggest that you do. And yeah, that basically, again, the most painful part of the experience was the anaesthetic going in, and again, that lasted about 2 minutes. About halfway through, it started to be painful on this side as well, again, and I flinched, and she asked if it was painful. She then put more anaesthetic in. So if it does get painful, you just ask for more, and that was fine. So make sure you are aware of the post-op instructions. Basically, the main ones are that you're going to have to take the tablets for the next 4 days. That's not too much of an issue. You can't drink on the tablets, so that's, a bit of a bummer, but you also have other rules. You cannot wash the front of your head for the first 4 days. You can't even touch it. You have to sleep on your back. You have to take paracetamol to help the pain, and the other tablets as well. On the 5th day, you can wash your whole head. For the first 3 days, not including today, I can't wash it today, but for the first 3 days, I can only wash the back, and I have to wash it twice, and you can't get the front wet. What you do have to do with the front is this. Every half hour, you take a saline solution that they give to you at the clinic. I'm just going to dab my forehead. And you have to do that to keep it moist and also to stop infections. So that's salt and water. You're not allowed to use a swimming pool for the first 4 weeks. You are not allowed to colour your hair for the first 6 weeks. You have to use baby shampoo for the first 4 weeks. And you cannot use any styling products on your hair for 4 weeks. So as I've said before I had this done, I was hoping that I wouldn't have to do anything to the front of the hair. I thought that they were just going to be able to keep the hairline as it was and poke the hair through into the existing hairline. Turns out that can't happen. So if you are keeping your hair and you're having the front done, basically you need to be aware that you are going to have at least 1/2 centimetre shaved off the front of your head. So if your hair's long like me, it may end up looking a little bit silly. The other fact that you can't use conditioner, gels, hairspray, anything like that also means there's no point in having longer hair unless you have nice long hair that comes over as a fringe, which unfortunately I don't. Things are the fact that you cannot fly a plane, or well, fly on a plane for 3 days. Your sleep may be disturbed. You can't drink alcohol. You can't add extra salt to your meals. You can drink caffeine after the surgery, the day after your surgery, and you don't have to make any changes to food, which is good. You can't touch the front of your head while it's healing. You need to be careful with powerful showers. They suggest that you use a mug or a jug to wash the back of your head, and you can't get the top of it wet apart from with the saline solution. Exercise, no exercise for 2 weeks. I don't really mind that. But you're not to do anything that makes you sweat. And you also, this is going to be a really tough one, have to wear a hat for 2 weeks if you go out in the sunshine so that the front does not get burnt in any way. It's 7 o'clock on the day after the procedure. I had not too bad a night's sleep, probably about 6 hours. I woke up maybe 8 or 9 times during the night. This was a covering from the clinic that they gave me. Ooh. Don't raise your eyebrows after you have it done. It feels really sore. That's how it's looking now. It's not as bad as it looked yesterday. There doesn't seem to be as much blood there. I'm worried that that might be because during the night I didn't sleep on my back as I was supposed to. What I did do, I slept on my back for the most of the night. Oh, it's painful to get up. I got one of these travel cushions that was red so I didn't get covered in blood. This has, I don't know if you can see it, quite a lot of blood on it from last night. I'm hoping that that's from the back of my head and that at some point in the night I didn't end up sleeping on my front, because they said don't sleep on your front in case you dislodge the follicles at the front that they've implanted. So hopefully that redness that was there wasn't so much blood as it was just swelling and bruising. That can't be washed today. That can't be washed until, it's now Thursday, that can't be washed till Sunday. So I'm just going to have to leave that. I've been spraying it with the saline solution. When I woke up in the night I did it a few times, and I'm going to have to do it every half an hour today. So I've set alarms. In terms of pain, my neck's very sore, but I think that might have been because I was in the same position for so long, such long periods yesterday. And if I move my eyebrows or smile, then my forehead is extremely painful. And I think that probably will change when the swelling goes down. So I assumed that today, maybe naively, that today I would be able to be up and about and do things. So I had things planned. I've got a dinner party planned tonight that I'm still going to try and go to, but today I just feel like I could kind of be in bed. I mean, luckily I have a job that I don't have to go to work every day, but on the flip side of that, I've had to say to my agent that I can't go to any commercial castings for the next 2 weeks, because you can't turn up to a commercial casting with that on the front of your head. So yeah, I don't think I was fully prepared for what to expect afterwards. It's not so bad. I don't think it's terrible if you know what to expect. And I guess hopefully that's what this video log will do. It will give people a realistic expectation of what to expect afterwards. So one of the delightful instructions for post-op is to clean the donor area. You're not allowed to touch the recipient area for about 10 days. 5 days. But at the back here you can see that there's still bits on the donor area, bits of blood, bits of drawing from during the operation. As I showed you before, there was blood on the cover that they put on the pillow, or that I put on the pillow last night. That's gone through onto the pillow as well. Hopefully after washing it this first time, that blood will lessen and lessen over the next few days. Now what they've said is, because there are power showers, a lot of people have power shower nowadays, they said a very weak shower. So I've got this on a very weak setting, just a dribble, and I'm just going to run it across the back of my head, trying to get nothing on the recipient area at the front or on the rest of my hair. Doesn't actually feel too bad. The other thing that they've said, just making sure I'm getting water everywhere, is to use baby shampoo. This they gave to me in a little pack afterwards. They said the idea for the first few times that you're doing it, is not to lather it on the back of your head, but actually get the bubbles on your hands. So lather it up here. Can you see that? Lather it up even, and then pat it onto the back of your head. So the back of my head is surprisingly unsensitive at the moment. Just patting this on gently. I thought it would be a lot more sore than that, to be honest. They've then said to leave this on for 5 or 10 minutes before rinsing it off. It's going to feel quite good to get this clean, to be honest. Ooh, okay, now it's starting to hurt a bit. Right, I have covered the area. I'm going to rinse that off my hands, and then I'm going to leave it for 5 to 10 minutes, and then I will rinse it off. Okay, as it started to sting a bit, it's been 5 minutes, and it started to sting, so, on the rain shower, oops. Started to sting a bit, so I'm going to rinse it off, and hopefully this hot water won't affect it too much. Okay, yeah, that's quite sore. Ooh, much more sore than it was before the stuff went on. Much more sensitive. I'm going to this dinner party tonight, and as you'll see on this side, I still have the pen marks from the surgery. So I'd really like to get rid of those. Right. First wash of the day. So 2 of those on the back for the first 4 days, and then you've got to, on the 5th day, wash the whole head, including the recipient area. It's day 3 after the procedure. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm going to be flying to Ireland today. They've said it's okay. They've given me some 100ml sprays for the saline solution. I've been spraying every half hour since the procedure, apart from when I'm asleep. And the good thing about that is that you do actually realise if you sweat, then across the top where you've been bleeding, you start to get sort of dirty brown scabby bits, and as soon as you spray the saline solution, that goes. So I'm assuming that's how it stops you from getting infected. The other thing you have to do as well, they give you a cap that you can wear if you're going out in the sunshine or if you're going out in the rain, just to make sure that none of this gets dislodged. You need to make sure it's a clean one. I'm stood here at the mirror just so that you can see the back of my head. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's starting to heal. I still bled on the pillow last night, but I used the protective sheet that they gave. And yeah, that's how it's looking. At the moment, I'm still a bit embarrassed about this front bit. I would advise that if you were going to be just getting the front done and you thought that you weren't going to have to cut your hair, I would advise just to cut it, shave it all off, because then it's going to be a bit more subtle if you've actually got it shaved. Yeah, so last night I slept a lot. I had really weird dreams. I don't know if that's to do with the medication. I don't seem to have as much swelling as I think most people would have if they got their entire head covered. The swelling doesn't seem to have gone up too much. And I bought these arnica tablets, and essentially the idea of that is that it's a homeopathic medicinal product that can reduce swelling as well. So you take 2 of those every couple of hours, and that should reduce any swelling that you have. So I've got enough of the antibiotic to carry on the course until the weekend. I did another baby shampoo wash of the donor area this morning. Still haven't touched the recipient area other than to spray it with the saline solution. So I went out last night. I went to a dinner party. People said that it didn't look as bad as they were expecting, so maybe the trick is to manage people's expectations by saying that you look like Frankenstein's monster, and when you get there it's not quite as bad. They had lots of questions, they were fascinated, and there were a couple of things that I remembered about the procedure while I was explaining it to people. One of the things, make sure that you've got something like Netflix, something on Netflix that you haven't watched that you really want to watch before you go in, and that'll keep you distracted. But yeah, that's just one of the things that I've remembered about the procedure. I will let you know how I get on after my flight today. Apparently the cabin pressure can affect swelling, so I'll let you know how that goes. And yeah, then I'll be in Ireland, and hopefully I won't have the London smog infecting my head, and I'll just have nice breezy Irish sea air.